Hello viewers, welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Today I have an interesting topic for you in government. Please follow me. Major political crisis in Nigeria. Before I proceed, let me state my learning objective. So, these are the objectives of today's wonderful lesson. At the end of the lesson, students will be able to 1. State the Kano Riots of 1953. 2. Highlight the Action Group Crisis of 1962. 3. Highlight Census Crisis of 1962 to 1963. Give reasons for the Nigeria Civil War of 1967 to 1970. Highlight the Kano State Executive and Legislative Crisis of 1981. Let's start with the Kano Riots of 1953. What's brought about the Kano Riots? The Kano Riot of 1953 was a significant event in Nigeria's history, marked by violent clashes between the Northerners and the Southerners over the issue of Nigeria's independence. Here are the key points. Causes. What are the causes of that Kano Riot of 1953? Immediate cause was the motion of self-government proposed by Chief Anthony Naro of the Action Group. They were in the House, in the Parliament. So Anthony Naro moved in 1953 moved a motion for self-government in Nigeria in 1956. He said Nigeria should gain independence in 1956, which was opposed by the Northern People's Congress leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello. He opposed it, and this caused tension. It caused a serious tension in the legislative arm of government, political tension. The strained relationship between Northern and Southern political leaders over the issue of self-government was a significant factor. When that crisis happened, the Northerners walked away. Northern leaders and Northerners in the parliament walked out of the parliament, and this brought political tension, disagreement between the Southern Nigeria and the northern part of Nigeria. Trigger. The riot was triggered by a tour of Northern Nigeria by Southern leaders, which was seen as a provocative by the Northerners. S.L. Akitola went to Kano. That time, he went to Kano. That is Samuel Adoke Akitola. He went to Kano to do a tour that advocated that Nigeria should gain independence in 1956. When they saw that thing happen, that we are fighting you people, and we still have the guts to come to our own region. So it brought about that clash or riot in Kano. Location of the violence. The violence primarily took place in Samogari in Kano, an area predominantly occupied by Southern Nigerians. Impact of the riot. The riot worsened the relationship with the Northern and Southern leaders and highlighted the need for a federal system of government in Nigeria. That time, it was during the era of McPherson. McPherson was the one, we are using McPherson Constitution that time. We are using McPherson Constitution that time. And that time, McPherson Constitution does not state federalism. So the only system that can make Nigeria work is federal system of government, whereby power is divided from the central government and regional units. So the crisis brought and worsened the relationship. So let's move to the Action Group Crisis of 1962. The Action Group Crisis of 1962 was a pivotal event in Nigeria's political history, marked by internal conflicts within the Action Group party. Here are the key points of the crisis. Personal clash. There was a personal clash between S.L. Akitola and Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Note that Chief Obafemi Awolowo was already the leader of the opposition. The leader of the opposition in the parliament after Nigeria gained independence. He was leader of the opposition in the parliament after Nigeria gained independence in 1960. So, and S.L. Akitola was the premier of Western region. So there was a personal clashes between both of them. Power struggle. There was a power struggle within the party. The Awolowo wanted to be consulted on major political decisions, which Akitola and supporters resisted. As well, the Action Group was founded by Awolowo. He was the founding father of Action Group. Others joined him. So, as the founding father, Awolowo wants his decision to be final, which Akitola said no, and the supporters doesn't go well with them. And this brought about the crisis in the Action Group. Ideological difference. The introduction of democratic socialism as the party new ideology created division within the action group, splitting members into radical and conservative factions. Awolowo wanted the party to be practicing the party ideology. Every political party has an ideology. Awolowo wants the party ideology to be democratic socialism. What is democratic socialism? Socialism is a system of government whereby the state rule. They want a democratic socialism whereby the state and the people too will rule together, like a mixed economy, whereby both states can rule, can have say in the economy and political system, and also people too, the citizens can also have say, like a mixed economy, which does not go well with Akintola and his people, and this brought about ideological differences, consequences. The crisis led to the case of Adegbenro versus Akintola and contributed to the reason for military intervention in Nigeria in 1965. When Akintola was removed, he was removed when there was a conference that was held in Jos. So Akintola was removed as the emir, and DS Adegbero became the head of the emir, the head of the Western region, which brought about a serious crisis in Western Nigeria, and that brought about the president, the prime minister, Tafawa Balewa brought in declared a state of emergency. He declared a state of emergency in Western Nigeria, and Majekodunmi became the sole administrator of Western Nigeria. So the consequences, the main features of the census. So let's move to the census crisis of 1962 to 1963 and 1963 respectively. The census crisis in Nigeria, particularly the one that occurred in 1962 to 1963, was a significant event that exposed the deep-seated regional and ethnic tensions within a newly independent nation. The census was crucial for the determining political representation and resources allocation, making it highly contentious and politicized process. Main feature of the census crisis: regional disparity. The meaning of regional disparity means that the census was not brought about this disparity, because they say that the northern Nigeria has they are more populated than the southern Nigeria. No, the northern region has more population than the western region and the northern region. So this thing was brought about disparity, that why are they having more number than other region? Political manipulation. The census was heavily politicized, with various regions attempts to deflate their population figure. There was what we call political manipulation. We heard that some people they were using their leg, the number of their legs and as population. So it brought about political manipulation. Many regions, they inflated the number of figures, they manipulated or inflated the figure of the population. Ethnic tension. The crisis exacerbated existing ethnic tensions as different ethnic groups felt marginalized or unfairly represented in the census results. So it's ethnic tension. Before that time, prior to that time, there have been ethnic tension in Nigeria, the newly independent country called Nigeria. There have been ethnic tension between the Yoruba, Igbo, and the Hausa. Ethnic tension. This brought about disparity and disagreement in the census that took place in 1962 and 1963. So, cancellation, violence, and unrest. These are some of the main features of the census crisis. Cancellation and recounts, impact on governance, and so on and so forth. The Nigeria Civil War. The Nigeria Civil War. The Nigeria Civil War, also known as the Biafra War, was a conflict that took place from July 6, 1967 to January 15, 1970. It was fought between the government of Nigeria and the secessionist state of Biafra, which declared independence from Nigeria in 1967. So, this war happened in 1967. So it was a war that happened, we call it civil war because it happened within Nigeria, between the northern Nigeria, within Nigeria and some other part of Nigeria, a region in Nigeria called the Eastern region. They seceded, meaning what they declared their own region an independent state, an independent country out of Nigeria. They don't want to be part of Nigeria again. They don't want to have anything to do with Nigeria. They've already have their own flag, their own money, their own currency, their own economy. They want to, they permanently remove themselves out of Nigeria. So the causes of the Nigeria Civil War. So after that happened, there was a war that happened. A war ensued because of that act. Who spearheaded it is this man called Colonel Odumegu Ojukwu. He was one that spearheaded the Biafra War or Civil War. He was one that removed the Eastern Nigeria out of Nigeria and declare it an independent state, and it caused war. What are the causes of Nigeria Civil War? Ethnic and regional tension. There have been major crises among the major tribes in Nigeria, Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa, which stop the unity in Nigeria. We are supposed to be united in diverse. We are diverse region. We are diverse language. We are diverse tribe. But there have been tensions. Because of that tension, there have been fights among the three of them. That is one of the causes of the Civil War. 2, political instability. The post-independence period was marked by political instability, including a series of coups. The first military coup in January 1966. So there was a coup. What brought about this in its political instability? There was a coup that overthrown the civilian government. A coup occurred in January 1966 in Nigeria, whereby some young Igbo officer led by Kaduna Eseogu led the coup and to overthrown the government, and this brought about political instability because other regions too were very angry and annoyed because those that led the coup were Igbos, and they killed only people from other regions, and they spared some of their own people, many of their own people. So economic disparity, there's been economic disparity in the regions. So the Eastern Nigeria, what's happening? The Eastern Nigeria were marginalized. That's one of the things. In terms of economy, in terms of political appointments, in terms of other things, other benefits, they were marginalized. They were separated. They were not parts of it. And this caused the Civil War. The other reasons too are secession of the Biafra, failure of negotiation. There was negotiation which failed. Impact of the war, humanitarian crisis, causes humanitarian crisis, political consequences. Those are the political consequences. It doesn't make us to be united as a nation. Kaduna State Executive or Legislative Crisis of 1981. I'll talk about the Kaduna State Executive or Legislative Crisis of 1981. The summary. The crisis of Kaduna State involves a power struggle between the executive and legislative branches, leading to political instability and violence. What are the key points? 1, power struggle. The governor of Kaduna was from a party called PRP, People Redemption Party, and majority of the members of the House of Assembly are members of the MPN. Majority of the assembly members and majority of them are members of MPN, while the governor is a member of PRP, and this caused war, clashes between the assembly, the legislature, and the executive arm of government in Kaduna. Power struggle, conflict between the governor, Balarabe Musa, and the state assembly. I just stated, allegation of mismanagement of funds. There were allegations that the governor mismanaged public funds that is meant to develop the country. Develop the state was mismanaged. Legislative action. Assembly attempt to impeach the governor, leading to tensions. As we all know, as I just stated before, that majority of the House are PRB, are NPN members. Majority of the House members are NPN members. And only the governor is PRP. So, and according to the Nigerian law, the legislative arm of government can impeach the governor or the president, deputy governor, and the president. And this, when Balarabe Musa was impeached, he was the first governor to be impeached by the assembly. So there was tension, there was fight among their supporters. Violence, Clashes erupted, resulting to loss of life and property, political consequences, and so on and so forth.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
These are the revision questions. 1A, state 3 causes of action group crisis. 1B, discuss causes of Kano riots. 2, list 4 causes of civil war in Nigeria. This is number 1A answer. State 3 causes of AG crisis. Number 1, personal clash. A major cause was the personal clash between Chief Awolowo and Chief Akintola. Awolowo viewed Akintola as overly ambitious and a threat to his leadership. 2, power struggle. There was a power struggle within the party, with Awolowo wanting to be consulted on major policy decisions, which Akintola and his supporters resisted. So, 1B says, discuss causes of Kano riots. Number 1, ethnic and regional tension. The immediate causes of Kano riots was this motion for self-government in 1956, proposed by Chief Anthony Enaoro of the Action Group. The Northern People's Congress opposed this, leading to tensions. 2, list 4 causes of civil war in Nigeria. Number 1, ethnic and regional tension. Nigeria's diverse ethnic composition with major groups including the Hausa Fulani in the north, the Yoruba in the west, and the Igbo in the east led to significant regional and ethnic tensions. These tensions were exacerbated by colonial policies that favored certain groups over others. 2, political instability. The post-independent period was marked by political instability, including a series of coups. The first military coup in January 1966 led to mostly Igbo officers, was followed by a counter-coup in July 1966, which resulted in widespread of violence against the Igbo in the northern region. 3, economic disparities. Economic inequalities between the regions, particularly the perceived marginalization of the eastern region, contributed to the desire for secession. The eastern region, rich in oil resources, felt it was receiving a fair share of the national wealth. These are the answers, lovely answers. So for inquiry, questions, comments, you can reach us on our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Do have a wonderful day. Thank you.